once Wiggs comes back, once CP comes back, once they're at full health, there's still a huge question mark on what is actually the Warriors' best lineup. Because, if we lock in Steph, Klay, and Dre, right, that's the three that are guaranteed to be on the floor. And even, a lot of fans have been questioning whether Klay should be on the floor late in games. But I think it's fair to say Steve has trust in him that he'll be closing 99% of games. If you've got those three, I think I've got optimism that Wiggs will return to somewhere near, a productive two-way player, let's say, where he will definitely be closing games as well, mostly because of defensive purposes more than anything. But I think he's starting to shoot. His last 5 games, he shot 50% from 3. I think he's starting to feel it and starting to feel more confident in his 3-point shot, and his shot in general. A few of his mid-range jumpers have been nice. So I think Wiggs is on his way back, which is good. And I think you can lock him in most games as that fourth closer. Even though obviously at the start of the season we saw him benched late in games in favour of Chris Paul, Kevon Looney, and whatever else. So if you've got those 4, then that leaves who's the 5th guy? Is it Chris Paul? Well, obviously with him out there, the Warriors are incredibly small, give up something defensively and rebound-wise. But then your other options, and this is something I read on Twitter the other day, the difference between the Warriors' 3rd best player and their 10th best player is incredibly minimal. So there's so many different options here for closing lineups. And ultimately it might just end up being, who's playing well on the night and who the opposition is and whatever else. But I think it is important to kind of work out what your best 5 is, especially if the Warriors are to make the playoffs. CP3 gives up, you're incredibly small, you're giving up something defensively and rebounding-wise. If you go big and you go Loon, then you're obviously giving up something offensively with him as a non-shooting threat. If you go JK, I think JK would be the perfect one. He just hasn't taken the leap like we expected, and I think that's unfortunate because I think, heading into the season, he kind of presented as the perfect fit as that guy between Wiggs and Draymond as another, athletic, big forward to fit in there. He just hasn't taken the leap, unfortunately. It is what it is. He played well against the Clippers in the first matchup. I think only played 15 minutes yesterday, made a few more errors. Obviously had that big dunk over Tice in the 4th quarter, which was nice, but otherwise not a great JK game. If you have him out there, it's a non-shooting threat. If you have GP2 out there, it's a non-shooting threat. So, if you have Saric out there, that gives you size and shooting, but he's a bit of a liability defensively. So there's so many different options here, but in every instance, they kind of give you something, but they're also giving up something, right? Whether they're almost one-way players. They're either bringing you offense or they're bringing you defense. And they're a liability on either end of the floor. I think Moody might be the one here who should be the 5th guy in that lineup because he gives you the best of the size, 6'6", big wingspan, fairly athletic, gives you some defense, and then obviously gives you the shooting and the offense as well. And I've actually been pretty impressed with some of, especially the last couple of games with more opportunity. I've been slightly impressed with some of Moses' takes to the rim and some of his ability to score in different ways rather than necessarily knocking down threes. I think he went 2 of 5 from 3 yesterday, which is great, 40%. But the fact he was able to get to 21 points, he got to the rim 10 times yesterday. So I'm really liking his aggressiveness. I'm liking his ability to score in different ways rather than just being a catch and shoot threat, which I think oftentimes when he's bottled up into just playing, 12, 15 minutes here and there, then that's what he kind of becomes. I think with the greater opportunity, with the greater playing time, I think we're seeing him spread his wings a little bit and kind of prove to Steve and prove to us even as fans that, hey, I'm not just a catch and shoot threat. I can put the ball on the floor. I can get to the rim. I can draw fouls. I can get to the free throw line, and all these different other wrinkles to his game that we didn't necessarily think he had. So Zach Lowe really pointed out a great line here that group has played 33 minutes together so far this season. The Steph, Klay, Moody, Wiggs, Dre. They've got a net rating of 18.5, which is really, really good in 33 minutes together. Small sample size, sure, but that is the most of any Warrior lineup this season that's played at least 15 minutes per game. So once Wiggs comes back, once CP, GP2, once the Warriors are at full health, I think I would really like to see Moses as that fifth guy next to the four kind of core players going forward here, and at least trying that out more, because on the 33 minutes, it shows that they have been really productive together and they deserve more opportunity together. And I think Moses, you couldn't have asked any more out of him in what he's done over these past couple of games as a start.